Hello and welcome to Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. My name is Kelly and I'm a former wedding planner and blogger, and I'm obsessed with weddings. If you're planning a wedding in Ireland, you're in the right place. You're going to learn the tried and tested methods to planning your dream wedding without the added stress. Think of this as your one-stop shop for everything to do with planning your wedding in Ireland, with me, your new wedding planning bestie, and a cup of tea. This is Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. Well, hello. It's Wedding Wednesday time, and we're actually in the middle of an amazing series. It's all about gearing up to pop the question. So what we've already covered is everything to do with engagement rings, so the settings and the diamonds, the cuts, all of that. We've also spoken about how to plan the proposal, and then today we're talking about what to say when you propose. And then next week, assuming that your other half has said yes, you're going to want to announce the news. So we're going to talk all about really cool ways you can announce it and who you should tell when. So why don't we talk about the proposal for a moment, because that's the whole part of the theme. And, you want this to be a special moment. You want your other half to feel like you've, planned something really special. And part of that lies in what you say. So I'm going to walk you through some tips, some things that you can think about that can really help you to speak from the heart, to share, things that are personal to you, things that are specific to you and your other half, and how to structure what you say. So I'm not going to give you a script, because the key here is to sound like yourself, but I am going to give you some key things that you can consider that would help to build what you want to say. So the first thing is my first tip from you is to be yourself. So if you don't want to sound robotic, if you don't want to sound like somebody else, the best thing you can do is to speak from the heart, to share words that you would normally say. So don't try and find fancy words that aren't in your usual vocabulary. Use language that you would normally use. You want to sound like yourself. You don't want to sound like you're following a script. And so what I recommend is to memorize the main points of what you want to say. And I'll give you some guidance as to what those can be. Memorize those points and prepare, of course, because this is the most important speech or presentation that you're going to deliver in your entire life. So you want to memorize it, but you don't want to memorize it word for word. You don't want to feel like you're reciting something in parrot fashion. So memorize the key structure of what you want to say, the sort of how you want to introduce, the kind of middle bits, and then the key phrase at the end. But don't feel like you have to have it be a perfectly constructed script that you memorize word for word. You want to sound like you're speaking like a human. You want to sound like yourself. And so the key here is to be yourself, use the language you would normally use, and that is a good first step. Next one, on the topic of not being too robotic, don't hold back. If you get emotional, that's okay. Not only is it okay, it's pretty cool. If you allow yourself to lean into those emotions, if you're feeling sentimental, if you're feeling, you're thinking back on the relationship, you're looking ahead to the future, and it makes you feel emotional, that's okay. If those emotions come out, if you get a little teary, that's okay. If you're smiling, that's amazing. Just lean into that. Don't feel like you have to rein it in, because this is probably the first time that you've had to have a conversation like this. It's really special. It's really big. And if there are emotions involved, that's okay. Your partner might see this side of you for the first time, but that's great. Just embrace it. Allow yourself to roll with it and see where you go. Now, when it comes to what you actually say, here are some things that I recommend you include. Start by first talking a bit about your relationship. So when was the moment that you knew that your other half was the one? What was it that made you fall in love with them? What are some things about the relationship that you really love? Name those things. Start by talking about the relationship. Talk about what you love about the relationship, and name some of those things, some specific instances where you just knew this is somebody that I want to spend my life with. The next thing you can do, which is on the similar topic, is to share what you love about the other person. So name the things, list the qualities, think about the things that you love the most, and don't just say, I love this about you, but actually elaborate on why you love that quality about this person. If you love their sense of humor, if you love the fact that they're generous or they're really kind or very smart, whatever it is, name those things, give examples, and make it feel very personal. If you can, include a couple of inside jokes when you do this, just to lighten the mood and to make it feel really personal and intimate and like this moment that you're both sharing together. Then you can talk about how they've changed your life. So have they made you feel more confident? Have they made you a kinder person? Have they made you, just better? Have they helped you to grow as a person? Whether they've been a positive influence in your life in this way or the next, whatever it is, list those things, because that makes somebody to see that the role that they've had in your life has been a really good one, which of course, if you want to marry this person, the role they've had has been a good one. So talk about that. So now that you've reflected on the past, you've spoken about how you feel, you've spoken about what you love about the relationship, you've spoken about what you love about the person, you've named qualities that you love about them and how they've changed you. Now spend some time looking ahead to the future. So this is where what you're saying kind of pivots. So you've reflected, you've shared sentimental emotions, maybe a sense of nostalgia, and then you're going to pivot what you're saying and you're going to start dreaming about the future. So when you think about it, marriage is a vow to spend the rest of your life together. So talk about what it is that makes you excited to spend your life with this other person. Do you think about the adventures you're going to have together? Do you think about starting a family? Do you think about, maybe traveling together? Are there specific adventures that you've already discussed? And there may be some things that are less specific, but still really important and real. Things like growing old together. Name some of these things that you're excited about for the future, the things that make you certain that having this person in your future is what you want. Name those things and spend some time dreaming about the future and assuring your partner that doing life together with each other is your ultimate goal. And then we get to the climax, the main part of the whole speech, and that is the famous 4 words. And those are, will you marry me? Now, I'm going to pause here and say there are lots of ways that you can say this, but why reinvent the wheel? So here's what I recommend. You start by talking about your relationship. Don't forget, you want to speak like yourself, use words that you normally use. Don't sound robotic. Don't hold back if you're feeling emotional, just let it all out. You talk about your relationship. You share what you love about your partner. Name specific characteristics and qualities that you love. Tell them how they've changed your life. Then pivot, start talking about the future, and then get down on one knee and say, will you marry me? So you could do that in a number of ways. You could say their name, then will you marry me? You could say their full name, will you marry me? You could say, will you spend the rest of your life with me? Or would you do me the honor of spending the rest of your life with me? Something along those lines. Just make sure that whatever you say at this moment is something that you have prepared, because this is the crucial sentence. And at this point, this is when you can show the ring. Now, when it comes to showing the ring, there are a number of things you can do. In the movies, you often see somebody holding the ring box, popping it open. That might not be super practical. So in last week's episode, we spoke about some of the logistics and practical details, such as if this is a surprise proposal, how are you going to get your partner to the location? Is somebody else bringing them and you're going to meet them? Are you guys going to be together and someone else will be setting up whatever area you're going to use? All of that. Here's another practical detail to consider. When you are going to pop the question, do you want to have the ring in the box so you open it, or do you want to have taken the ring out and it's hiding in your pocket so that you can display the ring only? Whatever you choose, consider the moment so that when you're here, you're focusing just on what you want to say. You're able to make eye contact with your partner and you know that you guys are together in this moment. You're enjoying all the emotions. You can then say, will you marry me? Or some variation of that as you display the ring. Your partner will then, of course, be blown away, emotional, feeling so loved, so special. They'll say yes, you'll put the ring on their hand, and then what happens next is you enjoy the moment and then you get to celebrate and announce the news, which is what we're going to be talking about next week. And so you don't want to miss this because we're going to cover who to tell when, Because believe it or not, there is some etiquette around this. You want to make sure that you don't accidentally leave somebody out and they see the news on social media before you have told them. So don't miss next week's episode because we are covering all of those details. Now, thank you for listening today. The Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online podcast is produced by me, Kelly, and mixed, mastered, and edited by Glenn Hartman. For more wedding planning tips, advice, checklists, and more, visit weddingsonline.ie.